Welcome to the deep dive. For those of you just embarking on the incredible, sometimes overwhelming, but always unforgettable journey of new parenthood, you know those early days are a whirlwind,
Oh, absolutely.
a
Yeah.
beautiful blur of first smiles, tiny yawns, and a million little moments you swear you'll remember forever. But let's be honest, in the midst of sleep deprivation and endless cycles of feeding and changing, those precious details can, well, they can start to fade.
Mhm.
You might find yourself thinking, I want to hold on to this.
Mhm.
But the sheer exhaustion makes it a real challenge.
It truly is. And that's why we're taking a deep dive today into something incredibly valuable for new parents: the power of journaling. We want to explore how this practice can be more than just, jotting down notes. It can be a way to capture the essence of these fleeting moments and navigate the intense emotional landscape that comes with welcoming a new life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Focusing on how journaling can serve as a real anchor during this unique time. Many new parents, as you likely are looking for effective ways to preserve these early days. And you might already be aware of resources designed specifically for this, like the journals offered by Stallion. They certainly put a lot of thought into what new parents need.
Absolutely. Our mission today is to really dig into how journaling can be a powerful tool for you, not just for logging feeds and diaper changes, but for documenting those incredibly special memories the first time your baby truly looks into your eyes and recognizes you, the way their tiny fingers curl around yours.
Ah, yeah.
It's also about processing the profound emotions that come with this life shift and ultimately creating a lasting keepsake that you and your child will treasure.
And we also want to highlight what features in a journal can truly make a difference for a busy, sleep-deprived new parent trying to hold on to these precious early days. Because let's face it, amidst the joyful chaos, finding a simple and effective way to preserve these memories is key.
Right.
It shouldn't feel like another task on an already mile-long list. You need something practical and, well, user-friendly.
Precisely. So let's start with the fundamental question. Why is journaling so important for new parents like you? We all know how time seems to warp and speed up when you have a newborn. What feels so incredibly vivid today, that first gummy smile, the way their tiny hand gripped your finger, can become a hazy recollection before you know it.
Oh, definitely.
It's almost as if the sheer volume of new experiences pushes some of those early, delicate moments to the periphery.
It's so true. You're in the thick of it and you think, oh, I'll never forget this. But then weeks blur into months and suddenly you're trying to remember the exact sequence of their first words or the funny little noises they made in their sleep. That's where a dedicated journal becomes such a valuable tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to intentionally anchor those moments in time, to give them a tangible form that you can revisit. Think of it as creating your own personal archive of these irreplaceable early days.
And it's not just about the big milestones, the anticipated firsts that everyone talks about. It's also about those tiny, seemingly insignificant everyday moments that are just as precious. The specific way your baby snuggles into your chest during a feed, a funny little face they pull when they taste something new, a sweet habit you notice forming as they drift off to sleep.
Yeah, those little things.
These are the intricate details that truly paint a rich picture of those early days, and they're often the first to fade in the whirlwind of new parenthood. A journal becomes a repository for these fleeting joys, creating a lasting keepsake that goes far beyond just dates and weights in a baby book. It preserves the feeling of being in those moments.
Absolutely. And for you, the listener who's navigating this incredible new landscape, journaling can be a wonderfully focused way to preserve these memories without adding to that feeling of being constantly overwhelmed. It doesn't have to be long, elaborate entries. Even a few lines each day capturing a single special moment can make a profound difference over time. Now, as we mentioned, many new parents, like yourself, are seeking out resources to help with this. And you might be looking at various journals designed for this specific stage of life, perhaps even considering something like a Stallion journal.
Right. There are certainly many options available, and what's interesting is how certain features can really cater to the unique needs of new parents. Take, for example, the paper quality. The Stallion journals, as you may know, use a 120 GSM wood-free paper. Now, beyond just feeling luxurious, what's the practical benefit of that for someone juggling a newborn?
That's a great question. I remember talking to a friend who was a new mom, and she mentioned that she'd often be writing in her baby journal during those hazy nighttime feeds, sometimes with a less than ideal pen in hand.
Yeah.
She was so grateful for the thick paper because even if she pressed too hard or the ink flow wasn't perfect, it wouldn't bleed through and ruin the other side of the page.
Oh, okay.
It kept her precious little observations neat and readable even when she was running on fumes.
Exactly. It's about practicality in those chaotic moments. You might be quickly jotting down a note about sleep patterns or a funny sound your baby made, and you might just grab whatever writing utensil is closest in the middle of the night.
Right.
With thicker, high-quality paper like 120 GSM, you gain that peace of mind knowing you don't have to worry about bleed-through. This not only keeps your journal tidy, but also makes the act of journaling itself a little more enjoyable. Even when you're feeling sleep-deprived and perhaps a little clumsy, it removes a potential source of frustration.
That makes perfect sense. And speaking of durability in less than ideal circumstances, another feature often highlighted is a durable cover. Listallion uses a soft faux leather. It feels nice, but how does that translate into real-world benefits for a new parent?
Well, think about the realities of life with a baby. Spills are inevitable.
Oh, definitely.
Diaper bags become black holes where things get tossed in haphazardly. That soft faux leather cover offers a significant level of resilience. It can withstand those inevitable little accidents, a rogue spit up, a leaky bottle, and the general wear and tear of being constantly on the go.
Right.
This helps ensure that your journal, this increasingly precious repository of early memories, actually lasts and remains in good condition to be looked back on in the future. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about the longevity of your keepsake.
Definitely a practical consideration. I remember my sister, when her first was born, used a simple notebook that ended up getting pretty battered in her diaper bag within just a few months. She wished she'd had something more robust to protect those early entries. Now, the Stallion journals also feature numbered pages and a built-in table of contents. That sounds very organized, which, as we said, is something many new parents likely crave. How does that actually help in the day-to-day process of capturing memories?
What's so useful here is how these seemingly small organizational features can make a big difference in the long run. Imagine you're trying to recall when your baby first truly smiled. Not just a reflex, but a genuine eye-crinkling smile.
Yeah.
Instead of flipping aimlessly through pages, trying to remember roughly when it happened, the numbered pages and table of contents allow you to create a quick index of those special moments. You can jot down first real smile, page 15, and easily find it later.
Oh, nice.
It transforms your journal from just a collection of entries into a more accessible and searchable record of your baby's journey. It's about making it easy to revisit those specific moments without feeling like you're excavating through an unorganized archive.
That's a fantastic point. It makes the journal a much more functional tool for reminiscing. The description also mentions spacious pages. That seems pretty straightforward, but why is having ample writing space a key feature for a parenting journal?
Well, as you touched on earlier, those early days are just brimming with tiny, nuanced details. Having spacious pages gives you the freedom to capture those details fully without feeling constrained. You might want to jot down not just that your baby smiled, but the specific context, who was holding them, what silly song were you singing that elicited that reaction.
Right, the story behind it.
Exactly. More space allows for richer, more descriptive entries, capturing not just the event, but the surrounding atmosphere and your feelings in that moment. It even allows for the flexibility to perhaps paste in a small photo or a little note alongside your written entry without making the page feel cluttered.
And then there are the dashed line pages, which are mentioned in some parents' experiences. Dashed lines, is there a particular benefit to that for new parents who are often writing when they're exhausted?
While it might seem like a subtle detail, dashed lines can actually be surprisingly helpful, especially when you're writing in those moments of extreme tiredness. They provide a gentle guide to keep your handwriting more aligned and legible, even when you're operating on minimal sleep.
Okay, I can see that.
It's a small feature that can contribute to a more pleasant journaling experience, ensuring that your precious memories are recorded in a way that you'll be able to easily decipher years down the line. My own handwriting definitely takes a nosedive when I'm tired, so I can certainly appreciate the value of that.
Another feature that sounds incredibly useful for those interrupted moments is a ribbon bookmark. It seems so simple, but in the life of a busy parent, simple often equals genius.
Exactly. When you're constantly being pulled in a million directions, which is practically the definition of new parenthood, a ribbon bookmark becomes your best friend. You can quickly mark your last entry mid-sentence, mid-thought, and easily find your place again, even if you only have a spare 30 seconds to jot something down before you're needed elsewhere.
Yeah.
It prevents you from losing your train of thought and encourages those small, frequent bursts of journaling, knowing you won't have to spend precious minutes searching for where you left off.
And finally, there's the inclusion of a built-in back pocket. That sounds like a thoughtful little addition, But what kind of small treasures might a new parent find useful to tuck away in there?
Oh, think about all those little tangible reminders you might accumulate in those early days. The hospital bracelet with their tiny identification
Oh,
information,
yeah, the tiny bracelet.
a soft lock of hair from their first little trim, an early ultrasound photo that you still cherish, a sweet congratulatory note from a grandparent. The built-in back pocket provides a safe and convenient place to keep these small, flat mementos alongside your written memories.
That's neat.
It keeps everything related to that period together in one place, creating an even richer and more multi-sensory record of this special time.
So it really does seem like these features are designed with a deep understanding of the specific challenges and joys of new parenthood. It's more than just a blank book. It's a tool tailored for this unique experience. Now, as the saying goes, features tell, but stories sell. Do we have any examples, perhaps from friends or family, of how these kinds of features have played out in the real lives of new parents?
Absolutely. I remember my cousin Emily during those early hazy weeks with her first baby, Liam. She was trying to keep track of his erratic sleep patterns, often jotting notes down in the middle of the night.
Hmm.
One particularly exhausting evening, while feeding him, she had her journal open on the nightstand and accidentally knocked over her cup of tea.
Oh, no.
A few drops splashed onto the page where she had just written about Liam's first proper giggle. She was so relieved that because of the quality of the paper in her journal, the ink didn't bleed or smudge, preserving that precious little milestone despite the late-night mishap.
Oh, I can completely picture that scene. Those sleep-deprived moments are ripe for little accidents. What's another example that comes to mind?
Well, a close friend, Sarah, was meticulous about documenting her daughter, Chloe's development. When Chloe started babbling, Sarah would try to write down the different sounds she was making.
Right.
When it came time for Chloe's first birthday party, Sarah's extended family was asking about when Chloe had first started making those specific sounds. Because Sarah had been using a journal with numbered pages and would make a quick note in the margins about new sounds, she could easily flip back to those entries and share the details.
Oh, that's great.
It was so lovely to see her confidently recall those early communication attempts, all thanks to that simple organizational feature.
That's such a wonderful way to share those early developments with loved ones. It turns the journal into a resource for connection. One more story.
Yes, this one involves me actually when my sister had her first baby. I remember gifting her a journal with a soft, flexible cover, thinking it would be easier to carry around in her already overflowing baby bag.
Good thinking.
She later told me how grateful she was for that. She said there were countless times when the journal got squished between diapers, spare clothes, and who knows what else, but the flexible yet durable cover always protected the pages inside.
Yeah.
It never got bent out of shape, which was a small but significant comfort during a time when everything else felt a little chaotic and unpredictable. It really highlighted the value of a cover that can withstand the demands of daily life with a newborn.
Those stories really illustrate how these seemingly specific features can address the very real, everyday challenges faced by new parents. It's not just about aesthetics, it's about creating a practical and resilient tool for memory keeping. Now, what about some actual tips for using a journal effectively during this time? How can new parents make the most of this practice, perhaps even leveraging some of these helpful features we've discussed?
One of the simplest yet most effective tips is to keep the journal readily accessible. As mentioned before, by the bedside table, in the diaper bag, wherever you spend the most time with your baby.
Yeah, keep it close.
The portability of a softcover journal certainly makes this easier. Even if you only have a few fleeting moments during a nap or a quiet feed, having the journal within reach makes it more likely you'll jot something down.
And what about those times when you're just so utterly exhausted that forming complete sentences feels like a monumental task?
That's where the beauty of bullet points and short phrases comes in. You don't need to write lengthy paragraphs every time. Just a few keywords or a quick sentence fragment can capture the essence of a moment. First, proper belly laugh today. Loved the way they held my finger during feeding, or finally slept for a 2-hour stretch.
For kids, yeah.
You can always add more detail later if you wish, but even those brief notes will serve as powerful memory triggers.
We also talked about incorporating photos and little mementos. How can new parents easily integrate those into their journaling?
The spacious pages in many journals, including those we've been discussing, provide the physical room to tape in a small photo or a little keepsake. And that built-in back pocket is ideal for temporarily storing those items until you have a moment to adhere them to the relevant page.
Okay.
It keeps everything together in one dedicated space, creating a more comprehensive record of this period.
I love the idea of writing little letters to your baby in the journal. That seems like such a meaningful way to capture your hopes and dreams for them.
Absolutely. And with the generous page count you often find in these types of journals, you have ample space to do just that. You can write about your feelings, your observations of their developing personality, your dreams for their future, even little anecdotes that you want to be sure to share with them someday.
Wow.
These letters can become incredibly treasured to look back on in the years to come, both for you and for your child.
So, when a new parent is thinking about choosing the right journal to accompany them on this journey, what are the key characteristics they should be considering? We've touched on quite a few, but let's bring it all together.
It really boils down to a few essential elements that cater to the unique demands of new parenthood. First and foremost, as we've emphasized, paper quality is crucial for a pleasant writing experience and for the long-term preservation of your entries,
Right, the bleed-through issue.
especially considering potential spills and the use of various pens. Second, consider the practicality of organizational features like numbered pages and a table of contents, which can make it so much easier to revisit specific memories. The layout of the pages themselves, whether you prefer lines, dots, or even blank space, is also a personal preference that can impact your journaling experience.
True.
And finally, don't underestimate the value of a durable and perhaps easily portable cover that can withstand the rigors of daily life with a baby.
And it sounds like considering these aspects can really help a new parent find a journal that will not only serve as a repository for memories, but also as a supportive companion during this incredible whirlwind time.
Exactly. It's about choosing a tool that fits seamlessly into the reality of new parenthood, making it easier and more enjoyable to capture those irreplaceable early years.
So, to bring our deep dive to a close,
Yeah.
it's clear that journaling offers a remarkably powerful way for new parents like you to document the fleeting beauty of early parenthood. It's a means of navigating the emotional peaks and valleys, of preserving those precious memories that might otherwise become hazy with time,
Mm.
and of ultimately creating a legacy of love and remembrance for both yourself and your child. And thoughtfully designed journals with features that cater to the specific needs of new parents, like durable covers, premium paper that resists bleed-through, and organizational aids can truly enhance this experience, making it a more accessible and rewarding way to capture those irreplaceable first years.
That's a wonderful way to summarize it. And as you continue on this extraordinary journey, perhaps take a moment to consider, what are the small, seemingly ordinary moments happening today that you know will bring a wave of nostalgia and joy to remember years from now?
Yeah.
What are the unique stories unfolding in these early days that you want to be sure to tell? And what will be your chosen way to preserve the magic of these fleeting moments for yourself and for your growing family?
Such important and beautiful questions to ponder. Thanks so much for exploring this with us today.